have a tendency to think of your alcoholic parents' flaws before you think of any strengths? I used to do that, but I found that when I would try to look for the strengths that my alcoholic parents had, and all people inevitably have, that my relationship with them became much more peaceful, easy to negotiate, both while they were still here on earth and later on, now that they're in heaven. Today I want to share with you a gift that my alcoholic mom gave to me in the summer of 1976. I was boarding my horse near the Bureau of Land Management foothills north of Boise at a friend of mine's house, Pam. She was my riding instructor, and she had a little ranch set up. It was really cool. Wasn't big, but she had a riding arena, a couple of stalls, and a tack room, everything that we needed. I had purchased my horse from her, so I was anxious to learn, to get to know him better, and we were preparing for competitions. She also had a pet pigeon that used to come and visit sometimes while I was taking my lesson, and he would just fly around and hang out while I was brushing my horse or whatever we were doing, eat the grain out of the buckets if there was any left over, that kind of thing. I don't even know where he came from, but she had named him Falcon Eddie, and she loved him, and she would talk to him when he would come, and so he would come and go. Well, this particular day, while I was taking my riding lesson, Falcon Eddie was there, and I was cantering down the fence, which we call the rail. It was on the left lead. I remember exactly like it was yesterday, trying so hard to do everything that she was telling me so I could impress her and do well. And all of a sudden, Falcon Eddie wandered out in front of my horse. Well, I thought he was going to move, because you know how, like, when you drive your car down the road, the birds moved out of the way if they're on the street. I just expected he was going to fly out of the way. Well, he didn't fly out of the way, and I ran over him with my horse at the canter. So he tumbles underneath my horse's hoofs, which he was, of course, no match for, and then he just flies off into the brush, and we don't know what happened to him. We can't find him. And Pam is furious at me, and she's yelling at me, "You ran over Falcon Eddie, you ran over Falcon Eddie, why did you do that?" And I was trying to apologize and explain that I thought he was going to move. I didn't mean to. I really didn't mean to. I wasn't intending to run over him because I thought he was going to move out of the way. So it didn't occur to me I should have stopped, but at the time I just thought he was going to move, and she was mad. So she stomped up to her house, little trailer mobile home they had out there in the desert, and I proceeded to take care of my horse, put him away, whatever I needed to do, got him situated. I had to go inside the house before I left to drive back to Boise because my purse was in the house. So I knocked on the door and very gingerly entered the house, and she's still mad at me. She won't look at me. She won't talk to me. And again, I'm telling her I'm sorry. I started to cry. And her husband, Dave, is saying, "Pam, you're acting like a damn baby. Get over it. Sally didn't mean to run over the bird. You know, it's not that big a deal." And she is just furious. And so he said, "Sally, just go ahead and go. It's going to be okay." So I pick up my purse. In the 70s, most of the purses, as I remember, had very long straps. So the body of the purse kind of hit me right at the hip. And if you lived through the 70s, you know that shag carpeting was like super, super big in the 70s. The longer, the better. And their little mobile home had a living room with shag carpet in it. Not only that, had a recliner, and beside that recliner was a standing ashtray, which happened to be full. So as I swung around to head for the door, I knock over the standing ashtray full onto the shag carpet, and then I'm really beside myself, and I'm trying to clean it up. And Dave is just saying, "Sally, please leave, just leave, okay? It's gonna be okay." So I'm crying, and I head out the door, get in the truck, cry all the way home, a good 40-minute drive. That wasn't enough for me to stop crying. So by the time I get home, hit the screen door, walk into the living room, and my mom, she looks at me, and I'm sure she thought somebody died because I'm sobbing and crying. And she said, "What happened?" And I'm barely can breathe because I'm crying so hard. And I start to tell her that I ran over Falcon Eddie with my horse. And she's like, who is Falcon Eddie? And I said, he's Pam's bird, and Pam's so mad at me and she won't talk to me. And I don't think she's ever going to teach me any more riding lessons. I'm going to have to find another place for my horse. And I'm just sobbing and crying and carrying on. And she sitting on the couch, I'm sitting on the couch with her, just falling apart still after a good hour by now. And she looked at me and she got a funny look on her face and she said, well, why didn't he move out of the way? And I'm like, no, I thought he was going to. And she said, he sounds like a pretty dumb bird to me. Then she just started laughing so hard she could not help it. She had had enough of the crying and the carrying on, and she was in hysterics. Just in hysterics. And of course, then I'm crying. I'm saying I'm mad, how can you laugh? Pam's mad at me, it's not even funny. And she said, yes, it is. She's just laughing so hard. So finally, she stopped laughing long enough, and I kind of calmed down, and she said, okay, just take a deep breath. She calmed me down. I'm sure it'll be okay. You're going to go back out tomorrow. You're going to ride again. I'll give her some time to calm down. So I did my best to, finish up the day, whatever. And the next day I went back out, and fortunately, Falcon Eddie had come back and he was fine, fit as a fiddle. And Pam had gotten over being mad at me, and life went on. But my mom gave me a very, very valuable gift that day, and that was just the gift of not taking myself too seriously, because she didn't take herself very seriously. She could laugh at herself, and so often she would call me, and we lived in separate states, so I didn't see her often, but we would talk on the phone quite a bit. And she would say, Sal, you're not going to believe what I did today. And she would tell me how she had done something not so smart or whatever, and we would just laugh together. And I'm so grateful for that. That's such a happy memory for me. And for years after that, literally till the day that she passed away, every once in a while, one of us would say, remember when I ran over Falcon Eddie? Or she would say, remember when you ran over Falcon Eddie? We would start laughing all over again. I just want to encourage you to think about your alcoholic parents' strengths as well as their character defects, and I'm sure that they have them. And you've probably survived some childhood trauma, maybe a lot, maybe more than me. But whatever your story is, the more that you can view them in a balanced view and be thankful for the gifts that they gave to you. Because all parents give gifts to their children, even maybe inadvertently. They still do, even if they are flawed and broken and perhaps alcoholic. I hope you like that story. If you did, please hit the like button and of course the subscribe button. And you can download a free document. It's a 3-step process that will help you walk through surrendering anything that's on your mind, either your loved one's addiction, your parents' addiction, or perhaps another problem that you have. And just learn to find some serenity, start your journey towards serenity, and maybe you're already on that journey, but we can never have enough, can we? I'd love to hear from you, so reach out to me in the comments below. You can leave me your prayer requests if you like. I definitely will pray for you. I'd love to hear what's going on with you. So I will be back in touch. Until next time, take care. Bye, guys.